Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. The Greenway Outdoors is also an internationally syndicated TV show on Pursuit Channel and Wild TV. You are now tuned into our weekly podcast hosted by executive producer Kyle Green, production coordinator Jeff Hutchinson, director AJ Beadle, and creative producer Ryan Parks. We live in a world where our natural resources are almost solely protected by funds raised by hunters and fishermen, with over 60% of those funds coming from white males over the age of 55. The Greenway Outdoors team has set out on a mission to create content that would inspire millennials, Generation Z, and new sportsmen and women to get out, hunt, fish, and contribute towards conservation and the betterment of our planet. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. Hello and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. I'm Kyle Green.
I'm Jeff Hutchinson.
AJ Beadle.
Ryan Parks.
Ryan is here. No kidding.
Why wouldn't I be here?
I don't know. I just wanted to say it because you were eating a blue ring pop and now your teeth are blue.
No shame.
I was going to say, I think he's got some kind of sickness.
He's foaming at the mouth.
That's normal for him.
Hope it's not dysentery.
What does dysentery mean?
It's where
when you
your
don't wash
body
yourself
dries
for a
up
long
and you
time.
die. And you get diarrhea forever. It's from Mrs. Doubtfire.
I don't remember that part from Mrs. Doubtfire.
I didn't watch Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, because it's in there.
I was.
I could
just
go.
gonna have
I
to
don't feel like monologuing.
AJ knows movies. That's one of
He
my
does.
favorite things about AJ is I can quote like the weirdest, littlest part out of any movie. Mostly Men in Black. And
Always
he will
Men in
pick
Black.
it up super quick. We've got a super entertaining episode for you. One of the things we're going to cover is Instagram models and do they actually sell products in the outdoor industry and what is that like? But before we do that, I'm going to talk about the hunt that we just did. We did a managed waterfowl weekend, Jeff and I did. We did a couple more duck hunts, which I know we've talked about a bunch of times. But one of the new things I got to do was I got to age the duck. And I've always wanted to do that, but then I get home and I'm like tired and hungry. And I'm like, I'm just going to breast him out.
2 hours of sleep is not conducive for aging duck.
No. But then we watched all these YouTube videos where it's like, if you don't age duck, you're eating pond scum and you're an idiot. I was like, okay, well, I've got to try this now. So then I tried it. And basically what we did, actually Jeffrey pretty much did it all, and I talked to him about the YouTube video itself, and then I was like, now they kind of did this.
You're going to want to do this.
So what you take it and you actually completely pluck the bird. So you take all the feathers out, which is a nightmare.
It sounds like
You got to get all the big ones out, and once you get those out, there's all the little. Kyle calls them fur, but it's for sure not fur. It's feathers. It's just
fur.
little
For
feathers.
sure not
it's
fur.
the down.
Duck's peach
Yeah.
fuzz.
So you got to pull
It
all
is
those
duck
out.
peach fuzz. Hold on. New term for that is duck peach fuzz. He's totally right. That is what it is.
So you got to pull that out with like tweezers. You can try to rub your dry hand on it and hope that it pulls some of that out, but it doesn't. It's just a mess.
It looked shiny, so I assume you were able to get it off.
No, we did good.
No,
We did-
but it took. If you've never done it before, it takes a while. You eventually get good at it, but we're not good.
It's like the
at it,
8th
so.
YouTube video in, we realized that we were actually doing it pretty wrong. One of the things that we were doing wrong was after you pluck it all, you're supposed to just cut off the wings. But Smarty Pants over here decided, no, it's going to be like a chicken wing. We're going to eat those wings.
I always
Why do
talk
you cut
about it.
them off?
I don't like to waste any meat. If I can save it, I'm gonna.
There's
and
no
I'll
meat in there.
I'll waste a good amount of time trying to save something if I know there's some meat in there.
Yeah, we know. You
And
were
the
doing
whole-
it up north.
definitely
The
do
wing
that.
the wing part looks exactly like what you would think of when you think of a chicken wing. So I'm like, I'm gonna save that because that'll be a good, tasty part. Mr. Impatient over there decides, no, we're not gonna.
Every
You just
YouTube
went
video
for
said
it.
cut them off. Every YouTube video. So then I
Because
let
they
him.
don't care about conservation
And
and,
to be-
using all the meat you could. But no, we'll waste meat, whatever. That's our new platform.
To be fair though, like he didn't get the feathers off the wings ever because they like.
No, it's weird.
So I'm supposed to eat feathered wings
Sounds-
from him that he
sounds
cooked?
good to
me. Yeah,
Man,
no.
man. But getting back to the actual aged duck itself, so you actually like cut up the back and open it up and take out all the guts on each end, cut off the head, cut off the up the butt, and you like reach in there and grab it and pull it all out. And like getting the lungs apparently is the hardest part.
It's so you got all the ribs in there, and then the lung is like in there, but then it's also like in between all the ribs, and you can't just like pull it. You got to get your finger in there and go
That's some weird
between
anatomy
each
this
it's a,
duck
rated,
has.
it's a
to
rated
get
G show. Rated G.
the lung out. It's pretty
Right.
gross. Where are you going with that, champ?
Nowhere else. So once you get all that out, you actually put it on a rack. And it was so funny. I go, Jeff, I don't have a rack. and I don't have a pan. I can't do this at all. He comes in my kitchen for 2 seconds, opens up I've got a little toaster oven, opens it up, pulls out the rack, pulls out the bottom tray, puts the bird on there.
It's on there perfect.
I'm done here.
Yeah, so you put the bird on there, so it's all plucked, and you're just looking at this plucked bird, and it's just sitting on the rack with the whole back cut out of it. And
we didn't do that at first.
No, we did it the hard way.
We cleaned it all out, and then we watch a video, and they're like, "And this is stupid. If you do it this way, you should just cut the back out, and then you can."
I watched the dumb one first. I watched the dumb one, so that was.
We learned how not to do it, so we're good now.
But we opened that up, and you put it on the rack, and essentially, like, ducks that migrate, which is pretty much all ducks, have twice the blood that a land mammal has. Because they need to pump blood to stay warm. Imagine how high up they are and how cold it is and how far they have to fly and how much blood they need.
Or sitting on that cold water.
It holds more oxygen so they can stay up high longer.
The waters, they stay until it ices.
Yeah.
And they're not cold.
No.
They're like,
They welcome
And
it.
they can stay underwater for like minutes at a time.
Some of them, divers can, puddlers can't. We hunt puddlers.
Idiot.
Tell that to that one duck that we got that then just decided he was a diver out of nowhere, and then...
That happened today, too.
Yeah.
But a redhead I shot. Oh, yeah. Oh, the mystery duck?
Yeah.
I don't even want to go into that. So anyway, you put them on the rack. They've got twice the blood, but duck blood doesn't taste good. Apparently, according to the videos and stuff that I learned, is that because they're in like pond water and mud water and they're eating all these gross things, that their blood and stuff acquires that taste. So if you don't get the blood out of the meat, you're likely to have that flavor in there still, which I always thought like a mallard was still pretty good, but I was like, could it be better? And it's like aged beef is so good, so I'm like, I'm committed to this now. So we put it on the rack in there.
6 hours later.
The thing that I don't understand...
I'm too excited. I got to do it now.
Is they say that the duck blood's bad. Duck blood soup is a thing.
No,
is
but
that
they only
just
put a drop in.
are people that like that just gross?
No.
Or...
Well, Kimber was eating the duck blood today. She was biting into the dog.
Kimber's a dog.
Yeah, Kimber's...
Just so everyone knows.
Who is that? Ugh.
No, she was like biting and like drinking the blood out of the ruddy duck I shot today. Loved it.
I like that we came up with that nickname for Ryan.
I believe duck blood... duck blood soup, I believe they only put 1 drop of blood in, and it's for like... a nostalgia. It's not an actually thing.
Nostalgia?
Whatever. I have a cold. Don't pick on me. So put it on the rack and let it sit there for probably it said 3 to 5 days. It's going to be 4 days because that's what lines up with our hunting and fishing schedule and traveling. But I'm pretty excited about it because the meat breaks down and then that blood escapes and drains out the bottom.
Capillary blood.
Yeah, and then the muscle breaks down like how you would age beef. So nonetheless, I'm really pretty excited about that, and I'm excited to do that. So we're gonna make like a how-to video once we actually know what we're doing, and like
it'll take another couple tries before.
Yeah. Oh, so we shouldn't have done that.
Oh, how not to? So yeah.
So we did a diver duck hunt today. We just got in like 2 or 3 hours
today,
ago.
real time.
I was excited. My dad actually got to go with us, and it was one of the first hunts that he's ever done. And the diver duck hunt went really well. We had, we're going to show a little bit of a video there, I guess. But, diver duck, we did a hunt. My dad went out. He got to go with us. That's some filming before. You're basically in these little layout boats, super gray, so you kind of blend into the waves. That's Kimber, actually. And then the camera guy sits back a little ways to film us from there. And then essentially you just sit in a bunch of rows of ducks, and ducks come in, and you try and hit them.
Good in that shot.
Yeah, that was you. So that's a kind of a look at what diver duck hunting is. And essentially, I was excited to take my dad out. Jeff couldn't go, and my dad had never been diver duck hunting before, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity to get him out. And it got me kind of thinking. I'm a little bit fascinated with, like, as a kid growing up, we go to Manistee Lake Resort. Remember I told you about Ryan? We almost stayed at that cabin?
Yeah.
And I remember one summer I was really into fishing, and my dad was like, I was probably 7 or 8 years old, and I remember him trying to get me out to go night fishing. But I had been hearing word on the beach was there was going to be a storm that night. And I remember being like super scared about that. And so I was asking him a lot of questions. I'm like, you think it's a good idea? Like, is there going to be a lot of storms? Like, is any? I was asking a lot of inquisitive questions to try and.
He's like, are you sure you're my kid?
Yeah, just to derive whether I was going to be safe or not. Because I was like, tin boat, like, I'm not a scientist, but, like, to me, like, this is not.
Really?
It was aluminum boat, but it's like, this is not a smart thing. So we go out, but I was real nervous, and I was laughing because doing this diver duck hunt in these little layout boats and stuff, it's funny when you see things switch. Like my dad was asking me a lot of questions about this, and he's like, "So how sturdy are those boats?" And do you think I should wear like a wetsuit?
I'm not getting in that little alien saucer. I'm not doing that.
And like leading up to it, like, and he like over like a week period, he knew it was gonna happen. And like the first conversation, he asked a lot of questions. Like I think that was like setting the gauge whether he was gonna call off work or not. And then like as the days roll up, every time I talked to him, he'd be like, "So how sturdy are these things?" Like he just passively said.
I saw the episode. It didn't look.
And you could tell that he was like. And then I was like, "Well, make sure you wear your waders." He goes, "Why?" That was a red flag. You know what I mean?
Whoa.
Wetness.
We went out on a hunt, and we were getting ready to walk in. We're cleaning up the decoys.
He's gonna hate you.
He is going to hate me. And we're going to walk in, and he starts walking in. We're like, "Hey, listen, you know, it's you guys have experienced it now. It's really hard to walk around in waders and that mud, and it gets under your feet. You wouldn't think it would, and it's hard to walk in.
It's super difficult.
So we're like, hey, you know, wait for us. We all walk in together because we don't, you know, if someone falls or something, you know,
don't move.
If you're 40 feet away from me and you fall, it's going to take me 2 minutes to get to you,
2.5
regardless
minutes
of what's going
away.
to happen.
You're a 2.5 minute run.
So we're cleaning up decoys, and I'm thinking he's sitting right here, and we're cleaning up, and all of a sudden I hear in the distance.
He hates you.
I turn, and you see him
underwater.
His head comes up, his hand comes up, the gun comes up, it goes back under. He's up.
Oh, sinking.
So ever since then, I'm sure he's got like if he's going to go out with Kyle again, he's going to know what's up.
Or listen.
It wasn't just that. It was that I told him, I said, "Dad, he shot 2 ducks that day, and he was super proud." I go, leave the ducks, and leave your gun, and you stand right here. I'm going to go put it away the decoys. You sit here. And just like, because I told him, he's like, "I can walk in." I'm like, "Then leave the ducks and gun at least." I shot him. You know, I'm going to take him in. So he's squeezing these ducks, and he's got his gun in his other hand. He's walking in, and he starts walking over, and I go, "All right, I'm going to go out the decoys. Don't you move." I'm like scolding him. So I walk out to the decoys. He waits till I get 50 yards away from him and then goes under. And he's swimming, and he can't keep his head above the water. And, like, I panic because he like die. He's got, like, a bad knee because he got ran over on his motorcycle and stuff.
And it was like November, so it's cold.
Yeah, like there was ice on the water when we got there in the morning. So, but nonetheless, I got over, saved him like Hercules, obviously, and he's still around kicking today, going on diver duck hunts, but still doesn't trust me because he thinks duck hunting is dangerous. When we come back, we're actually going to be talking about the boom and bust of migratory birds and why hunting is the #1 effective thing you can do for conservation. Stay tuned.
The Sportsman's Alliance works to protect your outdoor passions. For nearly 4 decades, the Sportsman's Alliance has fought to protect and advance hunting, fishing, trapping, and shooting in all 50 state legislatures, in the courts, in Congress, and at the ballot box. The Sportsman's Alliance continues to be the leading organization fighting coast to coast against any legislation or action that threatens your outdoor heritage, while also proactively advancing legislation that allows more opportunities for sportsmen and their families. The future of our outdoor heritage rests with the passion of sportsmen. By becoming a member of Sportsman's Alliance, you'll take an important step to help protect and promote hunting, fishing, and trapping from attacks by animal rights activists. Join the Sportsman's Alliance today to create a powerful and unified voice for sportsmen across the country.
Take the guesswork out of diver duck hunting with Jeremy Ullman of MI Guide Service. Offering everything you need for a successful hunt at great prices, you're sure to have a blast. We offer open water blind and layout hunts in Lake St. Clair, Saginaw Bay, as well as custom hunts in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. We've also got your fishing needs covered with trips available in every season. Go to miguideservice.com to book your hunt or fishing trip today.
Eagle Review is the review and ratings platform for thousands of international shooting and fishing destinations for virtually every game species. It is free of charge, and it helps you to find the perfect place and to book your fishing and shooting trips directly with the owner or agent. You can easily find unique places in virtually every corner of the world. Find your dream destination by selecting a location, a method, and a species that you are interested in. Once you've made a selection, you can easily compare destinations and find out what other people have to say about their experiences. It's the way to find your dream adventure, compare your options, and choose your trip. You can then help others finding their dream adventure by writing your review. So join the community and share your passion. Eagle Review. Find your dream shooting and fishing destinations.
Hot Shot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for whitetail deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
Hello and welcome back to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. I'm going to move right into our next time.
Yeah, right. I mean, today would be pretty good because you could talk about, we're going to, like something about diver ducks. I feel like you could make a good segue out of that with diving, but.
I'm going to start with geese. And we've got a clip from a goose hunt that we did, but specifically we're going to also be talking about snow geese as well. Now, what happens is, these birds migrate, start in Canada, work their way all the way down to the south of America.
Into Mexico?
Sometimes. But they work down.
Maybe.
Sometimes. Not all the time.
There's specific flyways and breeding grounds for these birds. And this is a great argument and what I use in educating people about the importance of hunting, especially in these migratory bird situations. So in like 1970, 1980, if you saw a Canada goose, it'd be like kind of a big deal. Like, you didn't see a lot of them. They weren't really around.
In Michigan?
Brian was born in 99, so he has no clue what I'm talking about. But
Yeah, I'm just
Or in the
stupid
US.
and
You're
ugly.
dumb. They've always been around. What are you talking about?
You're expendable.
to answer your question, AJ, all throughout the United States, but we can talk Michigan just because that's where we live, but all over the United States.
Okay.
And the bird populations were super low. Conservation efforts got put in place. Ducks Unlimited made a lot of headway. A lot of things happened. Delta waterfowl. They did a lot to bring back the breeding grounds and nurture these birds to the point where now there's so many they like give you permits to break up their eggs in the summer and stuff like that, you know.
I don't think, no matter what you
I feel
tell me
so
that's
dark.
good for, I don't think I could do that.
I could do it to swans.
I will gladly hunt more of them.
I'll
and
do it to swans.
no matter what, swans, I'm taking them.
I don't like swans and I don't
not
like
illegally.
cormorants.
I'm not going to actually shoot them, but
Swans and
they
cormorants.
deceive you because they look like ducks. And then right when
It's
they're
not just
right,
that. It's not just that. They're monsters. Cormorants eat an ungodly amount of perch and ruin ecosystems.
Yeah.
And
swans will go after other
Swans,
waterfowl's eggs.
expendable.
Yeah, and they'll.
yeah, swans will actually go around and drown other small waterfowl
Yeah.
because that's their competition for their kids, or they'll go around breaking up other eggs just so the other ones won't be born.
And
for
just
competition.
because, I'm sure, too.
Yeah. They do that one cute thing where they like come together like this and make a heart, and oh, now we can't.
No,
we got to
it's
make
never-
boats out
Yep.
of them. We can't hunt them.
It's going to be my wedding head.
They do that at the resorts too, but yeah, I hate swans. But besides that, what happens is these birds migrate the same paths. They're called flyways. So they are all across the United States, but these specific flyways and these specific birds are programmed. They don't have free will, right? So like if you told a goose like you could fly east instead of south, the goose doesn't register. He flies south because that's
Yep.
where they fly because that's what they do. 'cause
Instinct.
that's how God made them. So they fly down to the same breeding grounds every year. The problem is for that entire flyway, if you have all those geese flying down, you've got an entire group going to the same area to breed. Now, if the population gets too great, there's not enough food sources in these breeding grounds that they're going to go to no matter what. So let's say a breeding ground could sustain, we'll use very small numbers, this is not even remotely relevant, but we'll use very small numbers just for the audience. Let's say your breeding ground in your flyway supported 100 birds, but you had 200 birds there, which would mean every bird would only eat about 50% of what it normally would. Most of them won't die right then from starvation, but when they try and make their trek back north, they don't have the reserves to do it. So what can actually happen is what's called a population bust, where you can have severely high numbers, incredibly high numbers, and that is dangerous for the species because you can almost wipe them out in one season because they'll go to the breeding grounds, they'll eat up all the stuff that's there. Now imagine a number like the snow goose, where in some cases there's 300 geese to where there should be 100. Again, those are small numbers, not relevant on the number thing, but that's the boom and bust. So if you have 300 geese trying to frequent this one area, and it can only sustain life of 100, then they're only eating a third of what they're supposed to. And you, again, run that path. And the snow goose is interesting because the science says that we're right on the edge of one of these busts. And that's why for snow goose hunting, and AJ, you've been on a hunt with us, Ryan, you will coming here, I think, in March or April. But we do these, and in these regulation hunts, they take off all rules. You can actually put gun...
magazines.
Yeah, almost, for shotguns, where you can put an extender in there so your gun can hold like 19 shells.
Take the plug out, and they go to town on them. They come in big groups, and you just because they're trying to get rid of. There's so many that they need to get rid of them, so they're just no.
Right.
And you're getting rid of them for their own benefit, like
to keep the
population
under control.
There's not an infinite amount of food in these select areas. Now,
only so much millet.
Buckwheat, sorghum. But they fly to the same. That's like an inside joke that makes no sense to anyone else. They fly to these areas consistently year after year, and they're going to no matter what. So if we don't keep the numbers in check, so imagine the argument dealing with an anti-hunter who says, how could you shoot those beautiful geese? You're so bad. All life is important. All life is needed. It's like, I get that. But the science states that if we don't do this, the whole population is going to be wiped out, and I'm going to eat and utilize these. So I use the snow goose example a lot to kind of explain the need for hands-on conservation. Now, don't get me wrong. Not every single species that's out there, it's necessary for you to kill half of them to keep them alive. It's just not true. But in terms of the science and the specifics to every species, there's a lot of information out there that I think a lot of people miss out on, and it's really important, but I find it pretty fascinating.
I mean, that is good.
When we went out in South Dakota, you would see a sky full of millions of these geese.
Millions.
Yeah.
And
all together.
Just from visual standpoint of actually seeing them, you can kind of see like that just looks unnatural for this mile-long, mile-wide herd of geese flocking.
Gaggle
of geese. That's true.
That was my first snow goose hunt as well, and I was used to our goose hunts that we go on with Ray.
Correct.
Where you go out and you'll see a group of 10, maybe 15 come in, and then
only 7.
And then that group comes in, and it's like, what, 100 more? And it's
easily.
Like, I know I'm not supposed to group shoot, but I really want to group. You're supposed to aim for a specific bird, but there's just too many, and I can't pick one, so I'm just gonna shoot.
But that's a realization that people don't have, that like from a sustainability standpoint, sometimes like culling a herd is like necessary. And if you're utilizing the meat, and if you're hunting it for subsistence, and the meat's going to good use, it's like the ultimate sustainability factor. And that's because of hunters, the only reason why I believe that the bust hasn't happened yet. So when we come back, we're actually going to be meeting with Mary Mitchell, who's an Instagram model and would punch me in the face for calling her an Instagram model. But she's going to be talking to us about the industry standards of girls and thongs holding outdoor
fish,
outdoor products. And is this good for America? Is this good for people? And is this good for selling products? Stay tuned. It was 3 years ago that two millennials and lifelong best friends set out on a mission to protect the future of conservation. At the present moment, 60% of hunting and fishing licenses and conservation organization memberships are sold to white males over the age of 55. What many don't realize is these sales and memberships are what protect our waterways, wetlands, fisheries, our data collection, our species sustainability efforts, our forest, the Department of Natural Resources, and anti-poaching efforts. The $373 billion outdoor industry is looking for the answer to attract millennials and Generation Z. Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors. inspiring millennials and Generation Z to hunt, fish, and practice conservation efforts is not through traditional outdoor TV. We have to reach them the way they want to be reached, and that's through entertaining and educational reality TV show content. And to reach the masses that we need to protect the future of conservation and the outdoor industry, we have to take it mainstream, and the Greenway Outdoors will do it.
Okay.
Ready?
When you frantically move your feet, I'll pull you back out.
Okay. Heel click with your feet, and I'll help him pull you out. You want his right leg or his left leg?
The right one smells worse. I'll take it because I already know.
That's the one that pee runs down. What?
We hold his legs apart. We go, click your heels when you want to come in.
Got cold hands. I'll stop.
It's in my bag. It's in my thing. Why don't you dig it out? Because I don't. It's gonna be at like the bottom, and there's all kind of snacks. Don't touch the snacks.
Those snacks aren't for you.
Those snacks aren't meant for you.
Oh, berries. We could probably eat these.
Yeah, eat those.
Please.
Yeah, eat them.
Please get sick.
Please eat them. Please eat them. We need the ratings. Just eat them.
If a steelhead try to get at you, hook him like it's hot. All right, now I'm done.
The True Reality Show platform offers tons of laughs, and each episode teaches a specific tactic for a specific species. In a 30-minute program, we cover the conservation of the species, the gear needed for the tactic, the actual hunting and fishing trip, a Bible lesson, and we show you how to cook it. An action-packed, hilarious, but educational show millennials love.
Hello and welcome back to the Greenway Outdoors podcast.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with the tip of the week. And the reason why I picked this tip of the week is because talking about aging ducks in the beginning of that last segment, or 2 segments ago, I may have scared everyone that, yeah, we're going to make a how-to, but maybe it's a little bit complicated. But I wanted you
to it. No.
If you're in a pinch for time like we normally are and you want to get the blood out of the ducks, there is a way to brine it. Now, the people that, I will say this, though, the people that dry age will spit on you for it. Like the arrogance in these videos was incredible.
The purest dry aging.
Yeah. So but there is a brine you can use, and it's 1 gallon water to 1 cup brown sugar to 1 cup kosher salt.
If you've got like 1 duck that you're brining, you could probably there's a ratio or something.
Look at the picture here, and you can see that's when you just cut out the breast, you leave the fat on there, and just dunk them in like that. You leave them in that for 12 hours, and it will pull a ton of the blood out. But the dry aging people will hate you, so there's that.
I probably wouldn't do that with diver ducks. If that's like your only thing you're doing, I would maybe do that, and then like a orange juice after that, just to pull out more blood and try to get some of the gamey flavor out. But like on a mallard, that works good.
So what I said was fine, and if you want to add that too, I guess.
I kind of like the taste of swamp.
You would.
There's too much for me to say, and I can't say
I like it.
Welcome to the Greenway Outdoors, our Christian television show.
Swamp.
Our social media comment of the week is, we went back the funny way. So Jake Tomilak says, do you guys have actual shows of you hunting?
Nah.
And
not in mountain country.
I said, and at first I was like, is he upset that I posted a picture of a duck pond? Like, is that like, he's like, that's it. I've had it. Like, the way it's written, it's like he was like, frauds. That's enough.
I've been waiting for.
Where's the show? So I replied. I was like, well, Jake, it seems as though you missed out on seasons 1 and 2 of the Greenway Outdoors. No big deal. Season 3 begins in January on Pursuit Channel and put that. And then he loved my comment. So it wasn't like, I think his anger came from a place of longing for us.
I think it did.
I don't know if maybe we took that the wrong way. I don't feel like he was angry. He was just sees all the cool stuff we post on Facebook and Instagram. Was like, they keep talking about a show, but I never see the show. Where's the show?
I ain't never seen a show.
I ain't never seen no show.
Wasn't that the guy who asked us?
Yeah, that is a backstory that I forgot
Yeah.
about. Ryan,
Oh,
why don't
yeah.
you tell that backstory? I mean, this happens every day.
Yeah, so I guess Jake, this guy,
Tomahawk. Yeah.
Jake Tomahawk, he commented on one of the pictures on Facebook, right? He's like,
he messaged us. And
he messaged you.
Yeah, and this happens every day, so it like doesn't. It used to really get to me, but he said, "Are you accepting invitations? No, are you accepting
How do he the way he said it was funny. Like,
offers for you to take me?
that's right.
For you to take other people out hunting.
Like it was an honor to take him out hunting.
Yeah, I don't know that he actually said those words, but it was something to that effect where it could be taken that way, and it was like,
But I also
this
think
guy.
But I also think that because he loved our comment, I think he's wildly misunderstood, and he's probably just a fan. And He's probably a cool dude.
Yeah.
And we're probably just beating him into the ground, even though he's like a pretty nice guy.
Sorry, Jake.
So
It's a testament to how you can read something on comments via phones, computer, social media.
text and have no idea what somebody means, and that's what makes it.
Text message.
We would love to take him on a hunt when we have free time. So as soon as we have some free time, we'll get right on that.
We'll get right on it.
We'll be sleeping when we're dead, so.
Yeah.
I like that as I was saying that, guy, I was like, you offering this guy a hunt? Don't you do that. We don't have time for that.
We don't offer people hunts. Somebody that we would offer a hunt is actually our next guest, and that's Mary Mitchell. Mary, are you on the line?
Mary.
Mary, are you there? Is she there?
Mary?
I don't hear her yet.
Hello.
Oh,
Hey,
there we
Mary.
go.
Mary, you got to talk a little bit louder. Actually, I could probably turn up my headphones, but will you talk a little bit louder for us?
Hey, y'all.
Hey, you.
Hey, y'all.
I love it.
Perfect.
I was like, hi, you guys. I told her to say hi, you guys. I thought it'd be real cool if she did. She goes,
Hi there, everybody.
She goes, I'm not doing that. How are you doing tonight, Mary?
I'm good. How are y'all?
I'm doing fantastic. I think these guys are doing pretty good. We just got done with a diver duck hunt, so they're probably all tired. But
A little fatigued.
Mary, you and I have spoken off camera and off podcasting a few different times about a topic that I think is pretty interesting to a lot of people. If you're in the hunting and fishing industry and you're on social media, there is no way, and the rock means no way. No, I'm just kidding. There is no way you have ever gone on Instagram and not seen one of your favorite companies or brands having a product in the hands of a girl in a thong. And that's
It's just on a butt,
it's
basically.
It's just
It's resting.
and
They say it sells. So
they do say it sells. But we are seeing so much of it now, especially in the outdoor industry, where gun manufacturers, ammo manufacturers, fishing poles, especially fishing poles, even clothing lines, everything. Basically what they do is they put a girl next to naked or naked and then just kind of putting little fish in front of things. And they're holding products, and the idea is that that's how they're actually pushing their products and get them out there. And I actually have a thought behind this, and this is what I think, Mary, and then I want you to dive in, because coming from someone who could be considered a Instagram model, don't punch me in the face for saying it, I think you're way more than that. But coming from somebody that could be considered an Instagram model and a female, I'd really like you to weigh in on this. But essentially, I think what's happening is these outdoor industry companies are owned predominantly by people that are baby boomers or even older. And they're hiring people right out of college that don't have the interest in their jobs the way that some millennials do, some Generation Z do, and some baby boomers do. But they're very passive people. They got a degree in marketing, and they're going to take over the social media accounts for these different companies, okay?
Yep.
So they take over these accounts, they get paid their salary, and they don't give a crap about their actual job. Their goal is to get impressions to show their boss that, look, this many people saw your product, therefore I did my job. And the easiest way to do that is to throw money at girls that'll wear a thong and hold a product and think that that's going to do anything for the hunting and fishing industry, that's going to actually do anything to sell the product. Because I only remember the butt. I don't remember at all the product that was... Not that I've ever seen one.
You're telling me that girls don't hunt like that?
No. I don't think girls.
Wait, I'm out here.
Wait.
My world is shattered.
I quit.
I thought girls actually hunted in thongs.
I'm just waiting to meet one.
So essentially, these people go back that get these jobs, and they show their boss, look how many impressions we got. Look at what we did. Essentially, they're just throwing money so that a body part on a female will hopefully convert to sales, which I don't think that it actually does. I think that there's more eyeballs on it, but I don't think it's necessarily on the product. And Mary, coming from someone like you, who is super successful on Instagram, you've been approached by all kinds of people to advertise different products and stuff like that, but you've gone out of your way to keep it classy, as the kids say. And I've always really admired you for that. But what do you think about what I'm saying? What are your thoughts on my thought process?
Well, I think a lot of companies reach out to girls and get them to post these risque photos because I think they probably, in this day and generation, a lot of people, sex sells. So that's just how it is these days. So I feel like they can use that to their advantage. Do I think that it really sells the product, or does it really just get the girl more, like Insta fame? To me, just personally, I think that it just gets the girl more attention, but the product doesn't really go anywhere.
Right. So what you're saying, and Mary, I'm going to have you talk a little bit louder and maybe a little bit more into the phone, but your point is that you think that the Insta fame is there and they're getting the recognition for that, but actually converting that to true sales is probably not likely for the product. Who are some of the people that have, or not necessarily who, but tell us some of the funny stories that you've received from people that either offered you money or tried to get you to do something a little bit different for sales?
So one of the funny ones, I had a company reach out to me that sells like the samurai swords.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to send me some free samurai swords.
You needed one too. You were in the market, weren't you?
Oh yeah. But they specifically wanted me to pose with this item in a bikini. And I was just basically like, am I supposed to act like I'm going to fillet a fish with this? I mean,
Yeah. You're an extra in The Last Samurai? Sorry.
So a samurai sword company wanted you to pose with a bikini. Like, what was the pose going to be? I assume you'd have to watch The Last Samurai to have an idea, right?
Right,
Nice.
yeah.
Like you'd be like swinging it around. I think that'd make a better video. If they were really gonna pursue you, I feel like a video would have been a smarter choice.
Mary, has anyone approached you and like wanted you to sell a product, but then because you wouldn't do certain pictures, they backed off, or do they like accommodate what you want, or?
Oh, like with this certain company that I'm talking about, I told them no, that I wouldn't do that, and they just said never mind, never sent me anything, which didn't hurt my feelings any.
I don't know how they're going to sell swords.
Yeah, how are they going to sell swords now? Mary, what is it from a mentality standpoint of getting down to the morals and ethics of it and talking about more about what it is to put yourself out there essentially nude in order to push products? What has kept you from doing that? Because you could, and you could do well. So what specifically made you not do that?
I think really it's just how in the manner that you were raised. I could not, God forbid, if my Meemaw or my Peepaw, they have Instagram, they saw me half naked posing with like a fishing pole on Instagram, I could not even imagine the lecture that I would get.
It wouldn't be worth it, I don't think.
No.
It would not. And another thought with that is I don't want my image to be out there. I don't want to be just thought of, just like an Insta hoe or whatever you want to call it.
No, I
don't want that image, so.
Well, that's fantastic. And you're still getting approached by reputable companies that want to work with you simply because you're actually an outdoorsman. When you see that and you see these thong girls, if you will,
they have a name.
That's the best thing I come up with. Do you believe that they're true huntress would they say huntresses? Is that what you would say? Like, do you think they're legit hunters? Because you get some flack, people saying that you're not because of the way you look, but you truly are, and I know that personally. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that they actually are girls that fish and hunt, but they just have kind of sold their souls a little bit, or do you think they're just posers?
Yeah, I think it's a good mix. I mean, some people, I think that they just pose with an item and say that they just hunted for 8 hours during the day with an axe bow or something. And then, others, I feel like maybe they just feel as if they took these risque photos that their following will keep escalating, and that something will come out of it.
Sure. Well, I give you a lot of credit for holding strong and having morals and ethics in an Instagram click bait world that we live in.
Amen.
And that's why we had you on the show today. When we come back, we're actually going to be talking about our upcoming wild game dinners and what people would like to see on the menu. Mary, thank you so much for calling in, and we'll talk to you soon. Stay tuned.
Riverside Charters, located in Manistee, Michigan, offers guided fishing trips year-round. We target steelhead, chinook and coho salmon, and brown and lake trout. Fish the Big Lake on our 38-foot Tiara or the Manistee River on our enclosed and heated 22-foot Rivermaster jet boat. We do all the heavy lifting for you, so you and your buddies can focus on catching the fish. We'll even clean and bag your catch for you. Find out more at riversidecharters.com. Jenks Pheasant Farm in Silverwood, Michigan has been family-owned and operated for more than 20 years. We provide realistic upland bird hunt opportunities for any experience level. We have seasoned guides and dogs eager to make your hunt a success. Explore our fields thick with sorghum, canary grass, and good old weeds, which are great for bird cover. We have creeks to help beat the heat during early season, and we'll even clean your birds for you when you're done. Book your hunt now at jenkspheasantfarm.com.
The Sportsman's Alliance works to protect your outdoor passions. For nearly 4 decades, the Sportsman's Alliance has fought to protect and advance hunting, fishing, trapping, and shooting in all 50 state legislatures, in the courts, in Congress, and at the ballot box. The Sportsman's Alliance continues to be the leading organization fighting coast to coast against any legislation or action that threatens your outdoor heritage, while also proactively advancing legislation that allows more opportunities for sportsmen and their families. The future of our outdoor heritage rests with the passion of sportsmen. By becoming a member of Sportsman's Alliance, you'll take an important step to help protect and promote hunting, fishing, and trapping from attacks by animal rights activists. Join the Sportsman's Alliance today to create a powerful and unified voice for sportsmen across the country.
Do you run or own a hunting, shooting, or fishing travel service? And do you want to expand your international client base? Become a host on EagleReview.com. Join the fastest growing free online hosting community for hunting and fishing services in the world. Easily create your own page, and don't forget to share your best pictures and videos. On Eagle Review, you can share your contact information, your website, and links to your social media accounts so you can generate more traffic than ever before. After hiring your services, guests can leave reviews on your page to help you build a good reputation. Now that's marketing. No middleman. You are in direct contact with your clients. Need any help setting up your page? Our team of passionate hunting, shooting, and fishing enthusiasts are standing by to help you out. So go to EagleReview.com now and get started.
I'm Dean Stovall of Whitney's Almost Everything Outdoors. We are the premier guide service on Lake Whitney for striper fishing, hog hunts, duck hunts, and crappie fishing. We can sleep up to 30 people. Our house rental's just a short walk away from the water. A gift certificate for one of our hunting or fishing packages makes the perfect gift for that hard to shop for guy in your life. Go to waeoutdoors.com and book your hunting fishing trip today.
Hot Shot Outfitters in Port Hope, Michigan is the destination for whitetail deer, crow, waterfowl, rabbit, predator, and turkey hunts. We have cabins, over 30,000 non-fenced acres, and a passion for delivering fair chase hunts to you and your family. Reserve your hunt at hotshotoutfitters.com today.
When you listen to the Greenway Outdoors podcast, you could be listening to it on the New Radio Media app. You might be seeing it live on the New Radio Media YouTube, or you may be watching it on our YouTube channel. You may be listening to it on iTunes. I'd heavily recommend watching it on our YouTube channel if you haven't seen it yet, because you're listening to it back. The reason being is because the visuals that New Radio Media puts together for us is fantastic, and it's a really interactive thing that allows us to share genuine video content and pictures, as well as the visual of us talking, as opposed to just like a normal podcast. So if you're listening to us on iTunes or Google Play, check us out on our YouTube channel today.
We do try to keep mostly in audio. We try to like explain things well, but just some things you got to watch the video to get.
And with you here, sometimes audio only is better.
Yeah.
I heard the sound crew laughing, which is pretty cool, because that means I landed a big one.
They agree
There's
that
people
you're
at
ugly.
home.
It's a good bit.
There's people at home that are laughing.
Enjoy doing the next segment by yourself.
I got these guys. Now,
don't you dare.
We're also going to be partnering with New Radio Media on another big upcoming event series that we're going to be doing. Big, huge. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be wild.
It's going to be wild. And it's wild game dinners, and we're doing live panels with the Department of Natural Resources. And we are doing live panels with the Sportsman Alliance, who essentially, the way I describe it, because not everybody knows who they are, what the NRA is to guns is what the Sportsman Alliance is to hunters and fishermen when it comes to protecting our rights.
Lobbyist group.
Fantastic group.
Non-profit.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Non-profit.
Very specific. So we're going to be doing a live panel, and at these wild game dinners, people actually have the opportunity at the wild game dinner to not only enjoy winning prizes and doing things like that, but they'll actually be able to engage in a live panel that will be streamed through New Radio Media, where they'll actually be able to see and interact and get their questions answered for their home states. So the first 4 are in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be coming here in February. And every Saturday in February, we'll be traveling. Now, that being said, I've gone to a lot of wild game dinners. And they're never wild game, and it drives me nuts. If you go, and I love Ducks Unlimited, I love all the organizations, but when you go to the dinners, it's never wild game, and I get it because wild game is expensive. But when I go to a dinner, I want something.
It's called a wild game dinner.
Yeah.
Well, we shot this spaghetti afield, and
it's spaghetti squash, so it's healthier.
Oh.
How rude! You even ruined the spaghetti. My mom thinks it's the same. They've been eating healthy, and it's just
it's actually not bad.
It's not.
It's a good alternative.
It is, but if you're expecting, if
you're
you know
stupid
going in, you know that's what it is, then it's fine. It has a different texture to it. But if you go in and people are like, oh, it's just like spaghetti, I hate those people because then dinner's ruined no matter what.
Yeah, because the buildup was there.
Yeah.
You can't put enough cheese on it to correct that nightmare. That's my thoughts on it. But nonetheless, I actually wanted to directly ask our audience, if you're attending a wild game dinner, what are some things you'd like to try? What would you like to have? So
wild game-wise. Not
wild
spaghetti.
Probably actually
not
wild
breadsticks.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, comment there. If you're watching us on Facebook, comment there. Or if you're watching us on Instagram, comment there. Let us know specifically what wild game you'd like to see at our dinner, so that when you come on our tour and check it out and interact with the Sportsman Alliance and DNR and us personally, you're eating what you want to eat. So let us know.
Sure. One of the things that I thought was interesting was Ray from Hot Shot Outfitters took us out for that beaver trapping. And then he was excited to try to, clean them and tan them and yada, yada. And then he took all the meat, and we're like, what are you going to do with that? Do you eat beaver? He goes, oh, yeah. And then we went and talked to him again, and he donated it to a wild game dinner, and everyone loved it.
Really?
So apparently beaver
is
beaver, delicious. Now,
Beaver
tail, on the other hand, which we had while we were there.
Ew.
He's like, oh, yeah.
Gross.
Old, pioneers used to eat it because it's, the most calorically dense food you can eat. And now we're like, oh, okay, so it'll be like butter probably. He's like, yeah, but it's meat. Okay, fatty meat, whatever. You eat it, and it was like, it is apparently meat, but with none of the fibrous texture you think of when you
it was
chew
a texture
into meat.
problem.
And it was the weirdest butter, but not good butter, meat, but not good meat.
Nothing meat
I
about
tried it, and it was nice, but I'll never do it again.
It was fat. It was fat from a prime rib, fiber wise, but without the flavor, and it wasn't good. You ever had beaver tail just by itself?
Not for me.
Not for me. Not for me. Yeah, but it is. They used to eat it, the mountain men would, because of the high caloric values of it. It's like the highest calorie thing that you could eat. So keep them warm and need calories when you're burning thousands and stuff like that. And it was a readily available resource for them.
You cook it on a fire, and then the skin kind of crisps up and then puffs away, and then you shuck it.
Yeah.
Shuck it?
Yeah.
Today's day and age, I don't
pull the crispy whatever off, and then there's just this white calorie stuff underneath.
I had pulled beaver before, and that was pretty good. But it's like essentially pulled pork, but just beaver, and it's like you can't really tell the difference. So
probably because there's so much.
You're masking
barbecue.
it.
Yeah.
You're masking it. So I don't know that I'm in love with the idea of masking things, because I like to actually try it. If I'm gonna try it, I want to try it.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna mask it, now but we essentially America, and this is from Meat Eater, because Steve Rennell is going to get credit for this because we can't take it from him. But he did an episode on beaver hunting, and he talked about the nostalgia of it, how America was basically built on beaver pelts, and then they quit selling them and they quit using them, and now it used to be something everybody ate and we all lived off of and used and utilized for everything, and the fur and this and that.
In the 80s, you could make a living off of selling the fur. You got good money for them.
1880s?
No, the 1980s. There was a boom, apparently.
I thought that's when it was PETA was a big thing and no animals were harmed in this production.
Well, according to Steve, it was big in the early 80s, and then he kind of got in at the end of it.
1800s?
And
no, he's right.
Yeah.
He's right. He's talking about a completely different timeline than me, because I'm talking about old Western.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But he's going way off track and pretty irrelevant, but his point is correct.
Fine, I won't mention Steve Rennell again.
Why don't you just stop talking?
Just stop talking about him.
I mentioned Steve Rennell, but the point is the mountain men would actually live off beaver, and it was a normal thing then. But now, because it's not human standard for us anymore, now it's looked at it you're gross for eating it, but it's we everybody used to eat it.
Well, it seems like it's more of a survival. I'm dying. I'm trekking through the Midwest for a month.
I like it.
And I need to eat something that's
happened with a lot of different.
That just doesn't make sense nowadays.
Yeah,
unless
you think
really are lost in the wilderness.
Beaver used to do that. There was lamprey, which are those lychee
sea
looking
lamprey
thing, but they're big.
Yeah,
that used to be a delicacy. They'd put those in pies. And I caught a salmon that had one under the armpit, and it was this big. I saved it. It's in my freezer. I'm going to attempt to eat it.
He's always going to eat it one day.
I'm going to attempt to eat it. We'll figure it out.
It was 3 years ago.
That was last summer.
Was it really?
Yeah.
You went fishing without me last summer?
Yeah.
When?
We went out on open water.
Oh, is that where you threw up everywhere?
Times, and we caught 3 fish, so every time they're throw up again. And then we'd catch a fish. It was yeah. Ew. I didn't enjoy it.
It sounds.
But I caught a good size lake trout, so it worked out all right.
Yeah, I'm not I would try lamprey. I just hate the idea of not eating something because now civilization tells you shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because now
the social.
Because you look at a beaver, okay, the fur, incredible to utilize. The tail for calories, incredible, and then the protein in the meat, it's everything that you could want in a resource. So you could see why they lived off of it. You know what I mean?
It makes sense back then.
I heard they make for great gloves.
Another key. He messed him up in the episode where he went to the Nordic, not the Nordic. Nordic. Now I look stupid.
No, it was the.
It was.
Well, wait.
Ketchikan?
It was to shoot those big horn things. It was in
muskox.
Muskox.
Yep,
it was
muskox.
Wherever he went to get muskox on the Great Bering Sea, he was ice fishing and messed up his beaver gloves. Read a book.
He's written several.
Another point, because we get attacked a lot by anti-hunters. So another key point that I want to talk to people about fishing is the need for predators in an ecosystem. So I'm going to use a real quick example that should be very easy for anybody to track. And we're going to use a small pond situation. Okay. So if you have, let's say in a normal fish, Ryan, I'll even bring you in on this. So it's I'm not cooking up a custom thing to fit my point. What fish would you would you estimate you'd probably find in a Michigan pond or a small lake? What are you going to find? Hit me.
What,
Too much pressure. Jeff, moving on.
Bluegill.
Okay,
Bluegill.
Well,
Bluegill.
Wait, quick question. This pond, is it big enough and deep enough you can dive in or no?
Why is he's doing my dive in? Would you let that go?
I'd say bluegill as well.
Bluegill. What else?
Pike, maybe.
Pike, probably bass.
A bass.
Okay. What else?
The panfish.
Okay.
Perch.
What else? Minnows.
Yeah.
Tadpoles.
Minnows.
Yeah.
Okay, so what your natural guess was, and I had to coax along, which was weird, but your natural guess was a pretty balanced ecosystem of predators and non-predators. Now, here's what will actually happen if we just stopped with Ryan and we listened to just bluegills. What happens is, he's like,
I'm so dumb.
He's like, man, I set myself up. No, with bluegills, if you're in a small ecosystem, pond, small lake, whatever it might be, and you've got a ton of bluegills but no predators, what will happen is all of those fish will continue to reproduce so that the population will boom and get big. But there will only be so much food for all of them to eat. So all of them will only get so big. They will never reach their potential. It's called a stunted pond or lake. So the need for predators is to keep the numbers within reason so that they have to compete for food. So the stronger ones will get bigger because there's a reason for them to get bigger. Because what actually happens, so imagine there's 1,000 bluegills in a pond.
Mm-hmm.
There's no predators. They're all going to live. They're all going to reproduce. And they're all going to eat what they can eat. But how many bugs are going to fly into that pond?
Right.
How much shells and things can they eat? They don't eat shells. But how many things
Worms.
worms. How many things can they all eat? There's only a limited supply. So for all of those fish that are going to continue to reproduce, there's only so much food for them to eat. And it begins to dwindle, so none of them grow big because none of them eat enough to grow big. If you add the predators in and he takes out half those fish will get twice as big, the half that's left, because there's
more food.
Plenty of food. There's more food. They can grow and get bigger. So when you're scoping out a new lake or scoping out a new pond and you're catching tons and tons and tons of small bluegills, obviously don't give up right away because you may just stink at fishing. But it could be a sign that the lake or pond has been stunted and the need for predators is there. Now, here's the cool thing. We are the #1 predator. So if we're there fishing, we're catching bluegills and we're eating them. Again, we're helping the entire circle of conservation.
Now, let me ask you this. For a stunted pond, because things can't grow to be the
if you make a
size
short
they're
joke
supposed to be,
now, I'm going to punch you.
Did you grow up in a stunted pond?
I know.
He got out of it, so he eventually grew up to be normal size.
Perfect.
Other things
You
got
knew
hunted,
it.
but
I am 5'10" now, and you need to stop. But when I graduated high school, I was only 5'4" and like 106
He's a little
pounds.
fella.
I was a little guy in high school.
You were a runt.
I was basically a Ryan.
Yeah.
What the heck?
He's like, I didn't even
pushing it off.
pushing it off on Ryan.
If you ever do that again on the podcast,
You embarrassed me so bad. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. Please, if you could, go to our Facebook and Instagram pages. We'd love to hear from you. Is there an episode you'd like to hear about? Also, check out our YouTube page. If you're listening to this on iTunes, Google Play, or anywhere else, if you go to our YouTube page, you'll be able to see and interact with the actual action. Leave a comment. Let us know what wild game you'd like to have at our wild game dinners. We'd love to serve it to you and also give you the opportunity to meet directly with the Sportsman Alliance and the Department of Natural Resources, because that's never been done before. That platform for you to interact directly and have your concerns answered, to find out what those lobbyists are doing for you to protect your rights. And the big one again, and we're monitoring it closely, is that bear one going on in New Jersey right now, where the governor came in, signed an executive order illegally, unconstitutionally. I pulled out an accent out of nowhere for that one.
unconstitutionally.
Unconstitutionally pulled out this executive order saying no more bear hunting on public lands. The Sportsman Alliance is there fighting tooth and nail for those people in New Jersey.
Well, maybe that governor got dished out yesterday.
Oh, he might have. I think they're pretty
I don't know.
Republican.
I really don't know.
I have no clue.
You wanna find
But it's
out?
possible.
I don't know if we have time for you to find out, but we
Find
can
out
put
in
it
the next 45 seconds.
Yeah, I'm actually curious because he got in and did it, and then they're like fighting him for it. So how would he? Did he get in because something else happened?
What's the
like
guy's name?
They serve 4
I
terms.
don't remember his
Phil
name.
Murphy.
That sounds familiar, but
that's
it's New Jersey, so if it's not the other guy, it's got to be him.
Yeah.
Is he still?
Yeah, it was Christie, so it's
Yeah, if it's not Chris Christie, then it's got to be
Phil
whoever.
Democrat.
Yeah, that's him.
I don't know.
No way.
Okay. Well, that's
So
it.
did he get in again?
I just Googled New Jersey
So you
governor.
just looked
Phil
up the
Murphy.
guy and didn't give us any information. Awesome.
Thanks
Do you want me to read his?
Some states didn't get a new governor, so they could have been one of them.
That's true because he was pretty recent. But nonetheless, let's not get hung up on that point. The point is the Sportsman Alliance and DNR, the people that are hands-on doing things for you for protecting your rights and actually protecting our natural resources hands-on are going to be there, give you the chance to interact with them. We'll be releasing dates on our social media pages within the next few weeks here. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Green Outdoors podcast, and stay green.